How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm all right. How are you?
Very well, thanks so much. Oh, I see that we almost have the same background.
Almost. You have all DVDs and I have books.
Right, exactly. So I have what is based on books, right?
I
Probably.
have that downstairs, my
Oh,
DVDs.
all right, all right. That's great. John, first of all, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you. Where are you? Where are you? You're in Germany?
Personally, I live in Switzerland right now, in Zurich. Yeah, but I work for Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. Yeah.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. You know what? I can't believe that it's already 23 years ago, since The Big Lebowski came out. It's like crazy to think about that. And I was wondering, when it comes down to you making the Jesus roles, did you ever had to tell yourself, if I don't do it now, I will never do it?
Yeah, I mean, the whole genesis of this whole thing was I had done a character in a play 10 years before The Big Lebowski, or 9 years before. That was basically the uncle of the Jesus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was the template for it, and then we made a few adjustments, and then, I thought it was going to be a bigger role, and then it really wasn't. But then I kind of made something out of it, and they, of course, made something out of it. And then, the movie didn't do that well in the United States, but it did better in Europe, I think. But it took like almost, I don't know, 10 years or something for it to kind of become this other kind of thing. And then after it did, I saw the movie again with my older son, Amadeo, and I was like, wow, it really is very funny. And I was thinking about the character that I had done in the play, and Joel and Ethan and I discussed, I had some crazy ideas. They were laughing, but they really don't do that. The only sequel that they were ever serious about at one time, which I don't think they will be anymore, was Barton Fink, to do it like, called it like old Fink or something. But people kept asking me, because my character was so small in the movie, it would be great to see the Jesus. And I kind of knew that I knew the character in more depth. And so I thought, I'd like to. And then I was working on something, and I thought, well, maybe this adaptation of this old French movie, maybe it just hit me. I did a reading. I said, wow, maybe that could work in context of this, about a guy who, never grew up. Because The Big Lebowski has that, they're like perpetual adolescents. And they live in the moment, and they're basic fuck ups. That's what they are. They're fuck ups. So I thought, I'm getting older, and if I either I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. And so, I was able to do it. So yeah, and I'm glad. I mean, it's a character that I could put into a lot of situations and have fun with. So I could put it into another situation and have fun with too. So I was glad I was able to do that. But it's a journey from like 1988 to 1997.
Wow.
There are certain characters that you've done. You go, oh well, I didn't do it I didn't explore the whole thing, and so and people seem to really enjoy it. So I'm happy about that.
Absolutely, yes, totally. And I mean, you just mentioned, that it's also about, not growing up. And it's so funny because in real life, a lot of people have the tendency, to become very serious once they become adults. And so for you as an artist and filmmaker, how important has it been in your career and your life, to keep that inner child alive? And how did you make sure that, you don't allow life to take that part of you away?
Life beats you up. Life beats you up. You get tired. You have more responsibilities. I think what I try to do is protect that part of me in my work. Sometimes the child, the amateur, the thing that you really loved, and not become cynical. And so whenever I do things that I really love, that frees me that way, and sometimes I've done stuff that I haven't really loved, and I try to still be free in that too. But I think it's really important. Otherwise you become like old fast. You have all the answers, what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. So I still like to kind of you know, you know, play in that way. And when you are doing that, then you're capable of doing really exciting things, maybe even better than that, because you're just giving it away. You like doing it for your friends. You know, you're like trying to make your friends laugh, or keep your friends interested, or tell them an interesting story. And so that's really an important thing. And I think you have to kind of protect that in a way. And also, I think people become so ambitious and whatever, they leave a lot of their humanity aside. And maybe I'm like too much the other way sometimes, you know, like but I feel like I'd rather be that way. So,
Yeah.
and I think if you stay in life and you stay connected to life and you don't become removed so much, when you could easily, you know, people doing all these things for you and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
then, you know, making your own food, buying your own food, you know, doing things, you know, having interactions, that helps too. But I do think the initial impulse to be a writer or a director or an actor or anything, or, you know, or a painter, it comes from something that's not necessarily, it comes from inside. It's not like, I'm going to get here, you know, I'm going to win this award, I'm going to make it's, you know, there can be there really can't be a direct highway that you're taking. I mean, I've tried to do, you know, theater, documentaries, this, that, because one thing feeds the other. And when you're learning, it's fun. You know, I mean, the film I adapted for this, the Blier's film, Lebowski, that was a film I saw when I was like 18, and it kind of blew my mind. A lot of his films blew my mind, and I was like, I was shocked, but I was laughing, but I was shocked. And I was like, I mean, now it'd really be shocking, but the real, you know, but I loved the guy's mind. I thought he's really dealing with freedom and the unconscious. And I thought, I like when people do that. I like anyone who tries to do that, that they're, you know, they're not, because there's other kind of people who go for the jugular. They're like, this is the way it is. And it's, and they bludgeon you with it. And you're like, come on, man. Like, you know,
Exactly.
enough, you know, like I see you reaching for greatness, but you first got to be connected to humanity. You know what I mean? And some people, it's just too much for me. You know what I mean? So I love when people are, you know, free. And it's funny, like, take someone like Jeff in The Big Lebowski or whatever like that. I mean, now everyone talks about that performance, but when he did it, you know, he didn't win any awards for it or anything like that. And yet,
that's so weird. Yeah.
People follow the dude as if, you know, as if he's Gandhi. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It gives an alternative way of life. Of course, you're not in reality, but any college kid sees that and they're like, yeah, man, I want to be the dude. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And the guy's like, well, I mean, it's impossible to live that way, but it's actually instructive to see it sometimes. And I know people in real life who've lived close to that. And, you know, they get in a lot of trouble too. They're always asking you for money and stuff. So, but I do think there's something about that when you see it, and usually it's associated with younger characters, but the dude wasn't so young. And in this movie, these guys they're stuck in perpetual adolescence. They've never grown up. They don't think about the future. And I think there's something freeing of that, because in real life, I'm like a responsible person, but in my work, I'm pretty uninhibited. You know what I mean? Because I feel
allow
like
yourself to be.
I can allow myself these things that I can't do in real life. You know, if I did them in real life, I'd be in jail or something. You know what I mean? You know, or whatever. I'd be, you know, persona non grata. But you know, when you see certain filmmakers, whatever, you know, whether it's a serious filmmaker like John Cassavetes or the Coen brothers, you know, you're seeing stuff that you haven't seen before, you know. And also I like things that's about what goes on between the people, in that space, and they're a trio, and that's a very sort of French design, the Jules and Jim, and it's really a menage a trois. But there's something great about a trio. I mean, a duo is good too, but there's something about the trio that's,
yes,
I don't know. I kind of like, I mean, one of my dentists who did a root canal, he's watched the movie like 3 times. Now he's a dentist, but he just says it just makes him laugh so much. He's been watching it during COVID, and I was like, wow, that means a lot to me. Like, I'm bringing him a little happiness, and he just was dying laughing because some of the things, and they're really from Blier, they're just ingenious, of these guys. They're they're mystified about what it is to be with a woman, like, and that they can't satisfy this woman. But what I really like about the impulse is that they try and that they fail, and that she is like beyond them. She's really the brain. And I think there's something kind of ingenious about that. And I think a lot of men don't even think about that. They only think about getting their satisfaction. And the idea is that they're trying to please someone, even though they're like Neanderthals, even though they're really stupid. They have sort of, and another level of them, they're kind of quite caring in their own bizarre way. They're like, we're going to do some, we're together, and
yes.
I just like that. And Blier did that a couple times in a few of his movies. And there's something liberating about it. I don't know what. I don't know what. I mean, I watched it. Yeah. And you're like watching, you go like, yeah, like that's the best you can do when you're with your friend. And you're like, let me show you how to do it. And of course he can't do it. And they think of themselves as masters of their, and I think there's something amusing about that. Someone who goes like, I know how to fix the toilet, and then there's a disaster.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so, sometimes comedies or certain kinds of comedies that are not so broad, they can hit on things that sometimes a serious movie, hits you over the head with. Sometimes, even a serious movie, I think, should have some humor in it. I think great serious movies do.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that was the impulse of that thing, and I'm interested in relationships. I don't care what the sexuality is, but how people can actually connect with another person, whatever the sexuality is. I don't really. It doesn't matter to me, but there's kind of a miracle of that when that happens. There's like, miracle of birth, and then you die. But the whole idea of like, not a sappy, sentimental people falling in love, but actually, exchanging that. It's a thing that the world could use more of, but that you're sold this kind of greeting card, bill of goods, even in movies. It's you don't see things that make you challenge your own conception of that, which I think is good, by the way. Which I think is good.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's good. Even if it makes you uncomfortable, or makes you laugh, because then you think, oh yeah, maybe I'm a little uptight, maybe I need to loosen up a little bit over here. I think men especially are very possessive and jealous, and that these characters aren't. I really like that a lot.
And I mean, when it comes down to Jesus, we of course all remember this iconic moment when he licks the bowling ball, delivering it right. So, and I was wondering, because even Christopher Walken told him in this movie, I never saw that before, and then your character goes like, it's my style. And so I was wondering, when it comes down to you as an artist and filmmaker, do you have, something that is typical for you, or do you have that lick bowling?
No. I mean, no, like that. All that stuff in The Big Lebowski came out of Joel and Ethan were telling me about it, and I was like, all right, but I don't have that much to do. So they said, oh, we have a little extra time. I'm sure you'll come up with some ideas, because they usually storyboard everything. So I said, well, what about me having a hairnet and a nail, because they wanted me to be. And so then I started thinking about, I said, Joe, what if I did like the Muhammad Ali type of dance, you know? And they were like, that's great, you know? So they added that, and I added that in, but I was only doing that to kind of make them laugh, because they're my friends. So once again, it comes out of like, if you're my friend, I was trying to make them like, I was trying to surprise them, do some, because I know they're so prepared and they're so clever and smart and great guys. So for another director, I wouldn't do that. I'll be honest. Yes. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. No way. I'm doing it because I'm doing it for like saying maybe they'll like this, or if they don't, they'll say, "Hey, that's too much, John." But they would do it in a gentle way, you know. And so when I'm in a relaxed environment, then I want to do that. But a lot of directors think I'm going to get what I want, and you know what it does? It does kind of shut you off. You say, I have to walk. I can only do this much. But with someone else, you think, I'm gonna do something really crazy, because I know even if it's bad, it's gonna be okay. And so you're doing it to shock them or surprise them. So maybe that is something that I like to do sometimes, or surprise someone. It could be in a very delicate way too. You know what I mean? But you want to give back to the director something that they're giving you, maybe from their writing, their directing, you know, and there are other people that you don't feel that way with. So I can't say I have a way of doing stuff. I do my preparation and I try my best, but for some people, you have extra gears. You think outside the box, because you know that they're not going to condemn you. And out of that, you can get some stuff that you're still talking about 25 years later, or 20 something years later. You understand? So yeah, that was just in the moment.
Very rare, which is very rare.
Very rare. There's things in movies that people do, and I go, I never forget the way they took the coat off, or, you know, Jenna Rollins, when she has the gun in a guy's face in Gloria. And the guy's coming after her on the subway, and she goes, you let a woman beat you. She goes, you let a woman beat you. And the way she does it, you're just like, whoa, yeah, man. Just
unforgettable moments, right?
Yeah, like it's just those moments that you just, sometimes someone smells their armpit or something, and you're like, whoa, what was that? You know, it's Toshio Mifune, you know, his physicalization, you know, he's Jimbo, and he's, you know, he does all that scratching and stuff like that. You know, it's like, it's so evocative, you know? So that's what you work towards. That's all.
John, I think that our time is already up. Would you mind one last question?
Sure. That's fine.
All right, great. Because, you know, I had to laugh when Paul, the hairdresser, told Jesus, you know, aren't you too old to steal a car? You know? And it remembered me, you know, because I get to hear that line all the time, you know, aren't you too old to watch this kind of movies? Aren't you too old to do this and that, you know? And sometimes I'm like, why do you even care? You know, just let me do my thing, you know? So it was only, do you
never listen to those people who say that. Never listen to those people.
It's so annoying, right? It's yeah. Do you remember a specific moment that someone told you that, and then you did it anyway? You know, you just ignored.
Well, you know, my mom never like praised me, whatever, but she was always supportive, and she never like judged what I did. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm kind of free. She wasn't saying, "Oh, you shouldn't do that." Oh, you know, she didn't do that to me, and because of that, I'm not afraid, because I guess if I did something didn't work, a drawing or this or that, you know, she was always like, well, you tried, you know, and that's all you can do. And I think that's the best thing you can give as a parent to your child, is give them the sense of their own worth, not an outside, not that they're great, but that not to be afraid, you know, to fail, you know what I mean? And to do stuff that tickles you. because the stuff that tickles you will lead you into a much, much richer discovery, place. I think. Anyway, I hope people get to watch the movie. I think if you do check it out, I think they'll be surprised and they'll enjoy it. And that's how I feel. And I'm not doing that because I'm going to make, a fortune from it. But I hope people check it out, because I think if they do, they'll be pleasantly, surprised by it.
And they will just have a great time.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm happy to hear you say that.
Absolutely. Yes, of course. It was a long wait, but it was worth the wait. Absolutely.
All right, good. I'm happy.
So very happy to get to see, to finally have been able to see more of Jesus. And of course, because you directed and wrote it, to see your version of it, of course.
Okay. Thank you. That means a lot to me. And it's nice, especially nowadays, you can bring a smile to people's faces.
So important these days. Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Much needed for all of us.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Yes. John, thank you so much for your time today. Seriously, it was such a pleasure talking to you. Your responses were so insightful, very precious. So thanks so much.
Okay.
And of course, all the best for your movie. But
all the best to you and to your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, be smart. Okay.
You too. Thanks so much, John. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Okay, thanks, John. Bye.
Good day. Bye.
You too. Bye.